next to the crowd of loud people squealing at guys in underwear, I will have to project, so if I seem a little loud, I'm sorry. What this panel is how not to write webcomics. There's a panel that was here earlier that was how to write webcomics, how to start one. I'm going to tell you how not to do it. What you're doing wrong if you're doing something wrong. Not that I can do things perfectly, no one's perfect, I got that right. And rule number 1 with webcomics. Do not, basically, you have one thing to do with webcomic. That is to communicate something. You're not there to do a big splash of color. You're not there to say, oh, I have this character that's a gory suit, and he's like, oh, these powers, and he's so good, and he's going to be chopping his head off. No, that's not a comic, that's a picture. That's called what you do in the artist alley. That's not a comic. What you do with usual webcomics is to either express an idea or a story. A lot of people forget this. Ideas, you can do ideas all you want. You can do a comic about what it's like to be a regular computer geek who just plays video games. Let's see, Penny Arcade, Control-Alt-Delete, Mega Tokyo. There are plenty of those out there. If you want to do another one, no problem. No matter, you can do anything you want with a webcomic. Don't let anyone say that you're doing something wrong. Not even follow me. If I say something you don't agree with, forget it. And don't follow it. This is your webcomic. Don't follow anyone else's advice. Simple. Well, I just negated my purpose here, but that's all right. Second thing, if you're going to convey a story with your webcomic, first thing you want to know, a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It doesn't matter how long it's going to be, it doesn't matter if it's an epic serial, you need to get some motion in there. I'm afraid the only kind of qualifications I have to webcomicking is a degree in creative writing and a friend who's been working on the same comic for about 4.5 years.
7 years.
7 years! And it's the same comic. What my friend Dana here writes is a webcomic called Specimen Ino about this girl who's abducted by aliens and they have little alien type adventures. Here's the problem with this comic. This is rule number 2. If you're going to start a comic, continue the comic. A lot of people start with the first 3 pages like, all right, I'm going to do this, get worked up about it. And then they fail because they don't keep a schedule, they don't keep doing it, they lose the fire, and all of a sudden they realize, oh man, this page number 1, it sucks, I gotta redo it. No, I shouldn't do it in color, I should do it in gray tone. Oh no, I should put this character in here, that. If you keep second guessing yourself, you're never gonna get it done. 7 years working on the same thing. It's improved over time, which is good. But if it's not out all in one piece, it's not going to happen. That story does no good to you if it's still up in here. It needs to be out on a page. Hairball. All right. Now we come to the tedious part, notes. I'm afraid I made some. Now, another rule I need to make about webcomicking. Your first time will probably suck. That's okay. Every first time sucks. The first time you said, oh mommy, look, I made a tree, and it looks like a big mountain of stuff, that's okay. People don't realize that. That's why you keep continuing, keep practicing. It doesn't matter if you're just an artist, just a writer, or you do both. If you keep continuing, keep practicing, keep redoing what you're doing, you'll turn out okay, or at least okay to your friends. And sometimes you don't have to impress anybody, just yourself. Second thing I wanted to say about webcomics. What was it? Comedy point. Make it entertaining. If you're expressing an idea or a storyline, if it's boring, no one's going to want to read it. One thing you can do this is to start with a bang. That's how a lot of things start, with a bang. However, if all you have is the big bang at the beginning, like, oh my gosh, the volcano exploded, and oh my gosh, the princess is going to die, oh my gosh, the king is dead! And then all of a sudden, as a result of the first 5 pages, why are people going to keep reading it? If you start with the biggest bang you can think of, and that's all you got, and the rest is just whittling away, no one's going to want to read it. You have to learn about pacing. Like, first you start with a threat of a volcano. Okay, hero says, you got to figure out how to stop the volcano. Second thing is, oh no, the princess can capture it. They got to figure out how to do the volcano and the princess. And second part, the princess can stop the volcano. Great! Oh shoot, the king's dead. Crap! And then it just moves on. Small victories, small defeats, small victories, small defeats, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you bring it along. Or you can do it smaller and smaller and smaller, and then the very big one at the end. It doesn't work if there's not a big ending, or at least a very poignant ending. Poignant, new vocabulary. Alright. Really, you guys just go closer. Dang. Question, how many of you guys actually read webcomics? Almost all of you except the one snoozing in the back, that's okay. Sorry, I had to do that. Alright, going around the room. You, how many webcomics do you read regularly?
Sorry?
How many webcomics do you read regularly? You guys ready to talk about?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Alright, how many do you read?
I read 50.
Congratulations, man, you're insane. You, how many do you read? Either of you. Handful? Sort. Alright. Notice that those people usually have 2, 3, an average of, I've seen about 7 or 8 different webcomics they read daily. They're good webcomickers. If your webcomic is a single thread in 8 different ones, you have to make sure that every time they read it, they have a reason to come back. This leads me to my second point. If you're going to do a webcomic, make it regular. It doesn't matter if it's weekly, bi-weekly, daily, if you're that crazy, or monthly, if you make it small little issues. If you have regularity in it and you have something if you have something to set your watch by and set your schedule by, you'll end up producing more and more, and it'll get easier as you go on, or harder depending on what kind of medium you're using. Okay. How many of you have ever tried to write a webcomic? You? Okay, we got batteries. All right. How did you start?
Well, I was trying to do a project for school, and I realized I didn't have to do a comic for it, and so I didn't want to waste the comic, so I just finished it up, and I decided to post it online, and I got some good feedback on it, and I decided to continue with it.
There you go. An accident, something you didn't need to do, turned out something bigger. Who else did one? You?
Well, I just started drawing random comics in my sketchbook, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you should post these on the internet." I'm like, "Where?" DeviantArt. Okay.
There you go.
I have 2 fans. I'm quite excited.
Sometimes that's all you need, 2 good fans. You? Did you?
I drew a set of characters and planned how they meet.
That works. You know, biological kind of stuff works. And we already know about you. Alright. Now, what genre were these comics?
Just slice of life, just taking situations, from just real life experiences and putting them to a webcomic form.
Life, stranger than fiction. I like that. Yours?
Complete and utter crack.
Yes! I love that. Yours?
Life with a bit of fantasy.
Fantasy. Now, let me guess that you usually read contemporary fiction.
Yeah.
You read a little bit of fantasy fiction. You read the cracked out thing you can ever find. This leads me to a theory I have. What you read is what you write. If you read fan fiction and you read slash stuff, if you read these little doujinshis everywhere, that's okay, but you're going to end up writing the same style as they are. And unfortunately, not many fan fictions are above and beyond. I've read a few who are, but not many of them. If you're going to read a fantasy, go for the greats. You don't have to do Tolkien. Or, God forbid, Eye of the World. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but